Hi guys, I'm Audrey and welcome to my February wrap-up video. I didn't read as much books in February than I did in January, but still there are lots of books worth talking about and I'm pretty excited to do this video. Without any further ado, here it comes. The first book that I finished in February was The Heartbreakers by Ellie Novak. This book is about Stella, who goes together with her twin brother to a signing of their twin sisters, their triplings, favorite band called The Heartbreakers. And yeah, Stella actually doesn't like their music and doesn't like their boy band stuff going on with them, and so she's not really into them. But anyway, by some chance she meets the lead singer of the band without knowing it, and she even tells him in his face that his music sucks and that she doesn't like him or them at all. He still gave her his number at the end of it and things happen. I know what you are thinking. No, this is not what you're thinking. You're probably thinking that, oh yeah, he gives her his number, they started texting, he's like, oh, let's meet up, I'm with my band and here and there and you know, just come over and stuff, and then ooh, happening things. No. Not at all, not at all. They're triplings, and their sister, she suffers from cancer, and that is why they go on this kind of road trip thing to get some signatures of the band for the, with some merchandise for their sister. It shows how you can change over time, like character development, but more realistic, not character development of the girl who is the chosen one and had to have this all metamorphosis kind of thing, where she comes from this silent little thing into this huge heroine, and she just becomes a hero. But more how you change over time and what leads to your inner changes as the person that you are in a really realistic manner. It's a really great book. It's a nice fluffy read for in between, and I can only recommend it. I gave 5 stars for it. The next book that I read was Easy by Tamara Weber. This book is about Jacqueline, who got attacked by a fellow student, and before he raped her, Lucas, who's also a fellow student, intervened and saved her, and of course beat that guy's ass up. That was wrong. That was such a weird sentence and probably wrong English. I am sorry. She has never seen Lucas before or noticed him before, but after that she sees him everywhere and she feels drawn to him. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, mainly because of the last third of the book. Maybe it would have been different if it was the first new adult book that I have read, but it wasn't. And yeah, so I don't know, I just felt like the first part of the book was just like missing something that really grabbed me and hooked me, but it wasn't really. It just came later on. What I really liked about this book was how Tamara Weber intertwined the attack that happens in the beginning of the book throughout the whole story, or with the whole story. Like, it's not, oh, she almost got raped, but oh, the next day everything is perfect. The sun is shining, unicorns are riding on clouds, barfing rainbows, and everyone is happy, and world peace is restored, and everyone finds their true soulmate and insta-love kind of things. No. Many things that happen in real life, that she doesn't want to talk about it, that she's traumatized, that she has problems trusting, you know, people talking bad about her because her attacker, of course, would never admit that he wanted to rape her, you know. And yeah, other things that happen like later on in the book that I don't really want to spoil. But I really liked it. I really liked the friendship between Jacqueline and her best friend, and how that helped her. And yeah, so that's why I gave it 5 or 4 stars in the end. If you are really interested in new adult, then I can recommend this book to you. The next book that I read was Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I already spoiled myself because of Facebook. Like, I was on Facebook and I saw this trailer starting and caption said, "I'm so excited for this movie, hard eyes emojis." And actually in the caption it always says like the name of the movie. Yeah, and doing that one. And so I didn't want to watch the trailer because I wanted to read this book next. So I wanted to look in the comment section below, like, you know, for the obvious name of the movie, and heart eyes and emojis and just hearts. The first comment was the spoiler of the ending without even a warning. It was just, oh, people don't know, blah 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 is going to happen. I was a little bit mad. A little bit. Me Before You starts with Will Trainer, who is a really successful man. Who's really wealthy, has a good job, and a beautiful girlfriend, and is living the life as he wants it to be. Until he is involved in a motorcycle accident, and which leaves him permanently disabled. 2 years later, Louisa Clark loses her job in a local cafe, and is forced to head to the job center and try every available job. And in the end, she ends up being a carer for Will Trainer, but not in the sense of being a nurse, but more to keep him company. Anyway, in the beginning of her new job, Louisa and Will had some problems connecting to each other and actually, you know, be in each other's space or anything, and but because her family depends on her wage, she stays at that job, and after some time they become acquainted to each other, and more like along the way a deep friendship forms between the two of them, and some other feelings. I gave the book 5 out of 5 stars because it was so amazing. Besides the fact that I spoiled myself and that I had some trouble getting into it. I think it took me around a couple of chapters, 1 or 2 chapters to really get into it. But as soon as Will and Louisa, you know, kind of got acquainted and everything, I was hooked, and I loved reading the story. I loved how Louisa wanted to give Will the very best, like possible, and yeah, how he changed after meeting her. I am super duper duper excited about the upcoming movie starring Emilia Clarke and Sam Claflin, and I hope I pronounced their names correctly. Yeah, I can only recommend this. The next book that I read, or finally finished reading, was The Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet by Bernie Sue and Kate Rorick. So I already started this book in the beginning of January when I first got it. I've watched the web series, the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, on YouTube in December, and that's why I decided to get this book. Anyway, I was 120 pages in and I just couldn't really get into it. I felt like I was forcing myself to read it because it just wasn't like the show, and that's sad. That's sad and kind of stupid because of course they're two different things, especially when the book came out after the web series or during. I don't really remember. I don't really know in which order it came out. But then I left it aside, and I texted Ashley from Sparky Loves Books, and I told her about it, and she was like, "Oh, same for me." She started, and then she couldn't really get into it, so she left it aside for 2 weeks, decided to read something different, and then came back to it, and then she finished it in one go. And I was like, okay, sure, I hope that also happens to me. Yeah, so I think I left it aside for a month, but then I picked it up because I actually wanted to finish reading it as part of my bookish resolutions for this year, and I did, and to be honest, I was super hooked. Like, after I picked it up and started reading, the plot was picking up, and I actually found myself not being able to stop reading it. That was something beautiful. Sometimes you just have to leave books aside, read something different, and come back to it later. But don't be like me and forget that book and start reading other books, and then stop reading other books and read other books instead, because yeah, I actually have no excuse for me. If you really like Pride and Prejudice, and if you haven't seen the web series, I can totally recommend this to you. It's so awesome. But if you want to have more behind the scenes kind of thing, you could I would recommend this book. There are so many things happening behind the scenes or in between episodes that you would never know if you didn't read this book. So if you love Pride and Prejudice and are obsessed with anything Lizzie Bennet related, this book is for you. Oh, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Winter Girls by Laurie Halse Anderson. So this book is one of the banned books in some schools in the US, and I was really intrigued about it because I've heard quite a lot about this one on Tumblr. Like, many people said that it's thought-provoking and beautifully written, and that it's also really sad. Okay, so this book is about Leah, who is anorexic, and her best friend Cassie was bulimic, and she died. So things are like, that's how the book starts. It's starting with Cassie's death and how Leah takes it, like, for her own mental health. I'm pretty sure that I've never read a book written in that style before. It's very poetic. It's not really, just half a sentence, but the way the sentence is written is like there's some melody going on, there's some emphasis on things. There are words or even sentences crossed out, so you actually read that she's lying to herself. That she knows the truth, but she's lying over it. And like a lot of repetition is also going on in this book, like a whole chapter with just one thing. I agree that this book is really thought-provoking, especially because it's not just a story that's been told, it's much more than that. It's about how someone deals with anorexia. I think this is a really important book to read, especially when it comes into, understanding other people. Even though you might not be battling with it, it's nice to know how people who actually battle with like this or other mental illnesses, how they feel, like how they perceive things, how this all started. What I think is helpful is trying to understand the other person and trying to help them in a way that's not, it's just in your head grow up, because that's not how the thing you should address it to other people. You have to find the source of their problem, or try it and help them in the most healing way possible without making them close off to everyone. And yeah, so I was shocked when I read this book at some points. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next books that I read were Twilight graphic novel Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Stephanie Meyer, art and adaptation by Young Kim. Damn! I never realized that you can put them together like that. This is amazing. Wow. Things I find out during filming. Okay, so you can see my computer screen. It's black and white, but sometimes in between they're like colored in, and that is like, what? Amazeballs! It's the part where they're in the forest and he reveals that he's sparkling, like millions of diamonds are on his skin. And yeah, so you see them. Oh, nice shit happening. Sorry for cursing. And then he's sparkling. Yeah. They touch and stuff. I really liked getting into it again. Like the story. Oh gosh, when did I last read the story? Like the first book. That was 5 or 6 years ago. Such a long time. I still want to reread it in English because I've just read it in German so far. And yeah, I have the whole series in English because a friend of mine got rid of his books, and so I got all the Stephanie Meyer books. Yeah, here where the prom is happening, it's also colored in, and I just love the illustrations so much. It's just so beautiful, so detailed. I just love how Young Kim adapted it. Like, her illustrations are not based on the movie and the actors. It's based on what she thinks those characters would look like. And yeah, so that's what I super adore and love. For anyone who is a Twilight fan, I can totally recommend the graphic novel because it's super lovely, super beautiful. The illustrations are so pretty, and it was nice revisiting the whole storyline and the characters from the early beginning. And the last book that I read in February was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. A lot of people commented about the plot twist that happens in the end. I do have to say that I saw it coming since I started the book. But I also have to admit that I am a really dramatic person. And so I have some senses when it comes to plot twists. Like most of the plot twists I can foresee before they're happening, or even, you know, hinted at. That could be sometimes really, really dumb. And that can anticlimactic, but that's just me and my weird sense for drama. We Were Liars is about Cadence Sinclair. She is a part of a very wealthy family that has its own island. Her grandparents, and which had 3 daughters, and they have children on their own, of their own. Sorry, and each of them has their own house on the island. And something happens in summer 15. Like the summers are divided or called by the age Cadence is. And yeah, so there was a big accident. She can't remember what happened in that accident and afterwards, and for 2 years she's struggling a lot with headaches and not remembering stuff. And yeah, so in summer 17 she goes back to the island to uncover whatever happened to her. And yeah, so a lot of things come up. I did also not see some of that stuff going to happen. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because it still was pretty good, you know? I like good in the sense that I still enjoyed it, and yeah. So those are the 8 books that I read in February. Have you read any of those books, or do you now want to read one of those books? Let me know, and just comment below. I love talking to you guys. You don't know how much this makes my day whenever I get a comment. You're awesome. Thank you. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this video. I wish you a great day, night, noon, evening, morning. I probably already said morning. Anyway, I wish you whatever time is it in your time zone when you're currently watching this video, and all the best. See you around. Bye.